After the informations about the destruction of the Russian 72nd Motorized Brigade in Andreevka, which was surrounded and destroyed by Ukrainian forces apparently, Russia sent in their 31st Airborne Assault Brigade to rescue the 72nd in Andreevka, and they too ended up getting smoked. Ukrainian military journalist Butusov writes, "The commander of one of the elite military formations of the Russian armed forces, brigade commander of the 31st Airborne Assault Brigade, Colonel Andrei Kondrashkin, was killed." This was reported by the famous traitor and one of the Russian field commanders, Alexander Khodakovsky. The 31st Air Assault Brigade took part in all the major battles of the war, starting with the landing at Gostomel Airport. Now the 31st Brigade is near Bakhmut, and specifically Kondrashkin was carrying out the task of repelling the attacks of the 3rd Assault Brigade and the units attached to it south of the village of Andreevka, in order to prevent the remnants of the 72nd Motorized Rifle Brigade, which our soldiers were finishing off in the village itself, from being captured. However, Kondrashkin was unable to complete the task. A number of strong points of the 31st Airborne Assault Brigade were completely destroyed, and Ukrainian attack aircraft broke into the village through Kondrashkin's defense sector. The circumstances of how exactly Kondrashkin was destroyed during these battles are not yet known. But the liquidation of the commander of one of the Russian strike formations is a serious achievement. In the battles for Andreevka, as is now known, a large number of command personnel of the 57th, 72nd, 85th, Motorized Rifle, and 31st Air Assault Brigades of the Russian Armed Forces were destroyed. Russia threw 10,000 paratroopers under Robotin as ordinary infantry, wrote British intelligence. According to the British summary, over the past 2 weeks, Russia has probably further strengthened the struggling 58th Combined Arms Army with additional airborne units of the airborne forces in the Orachiv direction in the Zaporizhia region. In total, at least 5 airborne regiments from the 7th and 76th Divisions are now concentrated a few kilometers from the frontline village of Robotine. In full, such a force should consist of about 10,000 elite paratroopers. However, all units are most likely in critical condition, the British note. Ukraine announced on Monday afternoon that it has breached Russian defensive lines near Bakhmut. In a post on Telegram, Ground Forces Commander Oleksandr Syrsky said, "After losing the settlements of Andreevka and Klishchivka last week, the enemy is conducting numerous counterattacks from different directions, unsuccessfully trying to regain lost positions. After all, these small at first glance settlements were important elements of the enemy's defensive line, which stretched from Bakhmut to Horlivka. As a result of the successful actions of our troops, the enemy's defense line was breached, which he tried to close, throwing all available reserves into battle." Earlier on Monday, its forces had recaptured small clutches of land from Russian forces along the southern front and near Bakhmut, AFP reports. 2 square kilometers, 0.77 square miles, were liberated in the Bakhmut sector, outgoing Deputy Defense Minister Hanna Maliar said on state media. Her announcement came one day after Kiev said its forces had retaken Klishchivka, a village south of Bakhmut, which was captured by Russian forces in May after one of the longest and bloodiest battles of the war. Maliar also said Ukrainian forces had clawed back 5.2 square kilometers in the south, where its forces are working to push deeper at 2 points along the front. Russian troops recruited into the ranks of Ukrainian partisan units are killing their own soldiers in sabotage operations in exchange for cash or the opportunity to live abroad, the partisans claimed. In the latest incident, a Russian soldier allegedly placed 10 kilograms of explosives between 2 trucks at a military base in the occupied city of Henichesk in Kherson region at the border with the Crimean Peninsula. According to Atesh, the partisan movement of Ukrainians and Crimean Tatars, they orchestrated the operation in which an improvised explosive device was detonated as troops boarded the vehicles. Result: 2 trucks with personnel were destroyed, the group said in a post on Telegram. A recent French in-depth survey of Russian Federation tank production and losses has concluded the level of losses is such that it will be unable to conduct major armored operations for years to come. and that its army could effectively run out of tanks in Ukraine in 2025. The Marseille-based Institut Action Resilience used satellite images, published Russian sources, battlefield data, and research into Russian commercial archives to develop a detailed estimate it made public on August 31st. IAR's conclusion is that Russian tank reserves are dramatically lower than the Kremlin would have outsiders believe. It contends that a realistic evaluation of Moscow's tank stockpiles and its lack of industrial capacity to replace battlefield losses has resulted in a widening and impossible-to-close gap, the report found. Footage from the 5th Separate Assault Brigade from recently liberated Klishchiivka. Breathtaking, almost cinematic, and at the same time, eerie footage.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe. Also, if you want to support Warthog Defense, please become our member and get early access to new videos, exclusive members-only videos, and become administrator in comment section. The membership link is in the description.
Rescues every day. We had a guy last week at 6 rescues in 6 days. You know, he's doing the job every day.